What's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo, another day where we talk about an IGL and how they push and get information for their team and die. Another player who we feel like doesn't get enough flowers. I say we because we all have the same opinions, right, guys? Like, we're all on the same page about every single thing that we say in these videos. I hope so. Of course, the rhetoric and the narrative that I've been pushing constantly in the last couple of months, where I feel like the meta has changed the most based on what players have talked about, plus what we've seen in a lot of these games, plus what we're seeing with some of the stats trends that have been coming in, and some of the similarities between some of the most successful teams. Is this info getting IGL? I don't know what to call them. I don't know how to best describe this. But this actually brought Mouse Sports a lot of success as well. So for those who missed like any of because I talk about it pretty much in every single video, the IGL that pushes to try to get information, that doesn't even necessarily need to get a kill as long as he figures out what the setup is, that can get the information to the rest of his team, that can result in rounds one because of how good those teams are with that information, where you can push. We talked about it on Nuke, where you flash through the outside smoke, see if there's anybody there. If there's people there, you die, you don't get a kill. Your teammates can push lobby. That level of information has gotten a new level of respect. Like in with how CS is gone, that level of information means the world now. And I think that this kind of play, I've talked about it. Boomich does this a lot. Glaive does this a lot. Karrigan does this a lot. Art does this a lot. And these are players whose stats have also been suffering. But Glaive is probably the most talented. Art is the most talented of those. Art and Glaive probably the most they could actually carry a team and be high, have put out high ADR, have MVP the tournaments if they didn't actually play this role. But it's irrelevant, right? This is the role they're actually really good at, and the role that is the most volatile, but allows your team to win a lot. Okay, so where did we see success for Mouse Sports? They had a marginally good end to the year. Of course, it's a sea of red for Karrigan statistics. And what we're going to look at it here is the Karrigan's last ride. I don't know, Karrigan going to FaZe and this being his last tournament, which is also his highest rated tournament. Let's do the math live. Since Powerland 2016, whatever the fuck that is. He played on Astralis, and he played probably versus nobodies. What is Powerland 2016? I mean, it's an old land, so maybe he actually played against nobody at the time. I mean, Anyways, okay, before that, versus Tier 1 competition. We keep going back. World Championships 2015 on Denmark, because it was only one map. Who is the one map versus Poland? Okay, wait, who is on Team Poland versus Taz, Neo, Repo, Neo, Innocent, Furlan, and Pete? Okay, and we go a little bit farther back. Let's look for something that makes a bit more sense here. We've got the Gamers Impact Charity Drive. You never know what happens at these charity events. Maybe sometimes you get good teams. And nope, we're going to go back even further, look for some stronger teams, the better rating. Don't tell me that this might be his best rating versus the strongest teams he's ever played against in his whole career. Don't tell me. Don't tell me that. 1.31 here. Was this the one? Cologne. All right. I mean, this is probably the one. This is probably the one. All the way back here at Cologne. 2014 European Finals. I guess that is. 2014 was like the last time he's played a comparable event with a rating this high. I guess a little bit higher there, but okay, let's see. What are the games he played at this event? We had such a good rating. FaZe, Heroic, Furia, Virtus Pro. Strong competition. I mean, where Heroic stand right now, it's hard to say. What's going on with Heroic? We don't know exactly. Look, this is the only series they actually lost here. So that's something interesting. But, I mean, it's been up and down for Heroic. So, but the last two times it looks like they played here, Mouse Sports were able to beat them. This was actually the interesting one. So the Blast Blast plus DreamHack Masters, where Mouse Sports really started to pop off a little bit. They actually did. They actually did. It was actually pretty cool. Like Mouse Sports were starting to get to a better place. And what happened was, of course, with the coaching drama, the coaching scandal, Regin, got kicked off Mouse Sports. Karrigan said it's just not a good situation where you shouldn't have you shouldn't have a coach stay on where some people kept their coaches. So this is really an upstanding move by Mouse Sports and by Karrigan. And then Karrigan also took on all the responsibilities of Regin and said, I'm going to do everything now. I'm going to do coaching and the IGLing. And I mean, it's Karrigan, so it's not like anybody had really like a high expectation for Karrigan to put up giant numbers at events in order for Mouse Sports to win games, right? But then, he actually had some really strong matches when we go back a little bit into 2020, and we look at some of the events at the end of the last year that might have been kind of more relevant. So like here, he's actually got one of his only positive ratings at the Blast Fall Showdown. This is actually kind of an okay rating given, compared to where he normally stands. This is the fall qualifier. I'm not sure when. I think this is after also when the coaches got banned. I'm not sure, but it looked a little bit better. And you could see there were some maps where I definitely was talking about Karrigan a lot. And I think, in fact, there was a match here probably versus Heroic on Train right here, 1.44 rating, that I also thought was a pretty outstanding game by Karrigan, where one of the games that showed me how much info he's really going to get all the time. Maybe I should bookmark this. So this one is the Blast Fall Showdown 2020. Another kind of reference match for me from last year. But maybe this one will be too. So we'll get the rematch here of Karrigan versus Heroic. And we'll get to see. Is there a similar situation where Karrigan, he puts up pretty big numbers, and 32, I think. He had 32 kills. Sorry, this is 2020. Went all-time here. 32 and 17 with a 1.73 rating. I actually didn't check this. I'm going to go ahead and look at the T side because that's what I'm most interested in. 13 and 13. So that's pretty good. 90 ADR. He will die a lot. This is also an interesting and good sign. Okay, we go into this game. He's going to die a lot. That's how it goes. And look, it's unbelievable CT side. But I'm more curious about this. Listen, an equal or slightly lower T side is just as good as any kind of like super high margin on the CT side, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go ahead and look at it. Karrigan, 1280 by 960. We're the best play. I've been streaming on Twitch. Look at my ESTA tag here, dude. It's improved my movement. I've been streaming on Twitch every day. Twitch.tv/launders. I'm going to be there today as well. Been playing matchmaking. I think I've been playing pretty good. I don't know why, but maybe it's Simple's resolution. That's why. I'm also on the market for some new gloves, but I don't want to spend $1,000 on some new gloves. But boy, do I want some. This is a nice little combination. So, okay, what are we going to expect coming into this game? Karrigan walking out of T-Con is what I expect. This is what he definitely does a lot versus Heroic. I can remember a number of times where I believe he caught Borup off guard, who stands around Sandwich or outside T-Con. And that's where he'll get a lot of his info and push a lot. And, of course, we've got, Karrigan played with Olaf Meister on FaZe. And Karrigan was sending Olaf out to Olaf Meister all the time. This is a common thing. Karrigan's definitely done a lot on this map in his career. And I don't know how much he likes the map, but he called some really cool stuff. I borrowed some stuff he used to call on FaZe. Some really sneaky stuff that he uses Olaf Meister to get to the back lanes and flashes deep and then get someone to wrap the site. He's definitely got some very cool stuff that I've borrowed personally from him on this map. So here it is. See, look, he just gets out. Okay, no one else has done anything. But look at him. He's at back 6 already, wrapping on Katie and death slam. He's pissed. Okay, because now you give up. What do I call this spot? I mean, I use this to talk about ladder. So like what's an equivalent kind of position here to ladder when we look at the back six and why it might be so? Okay, for those of you who are just here for the show, this is what I call an outpost. Okay, so what I would say when I talked about an outpost in chess, it's a place where you would normally be like your knight would be protected by a pawn, and it's covering really, really important parts of the board, right? So I always talk about backs as a really important part about train. Once you get control of this, it's really scary for all of the places on the back of the site for people to stand in. So the same thing, and so I think part of an outpost in CS would be the cover has to be able to allow you to protect yourself a little bit. So like in ladder, that's, you've really got a lot of protection from the outside. You can maneuver around. You're not just standing in the middle of the open. And the same kind of for back six a little bit. It's maybe a little bit scary here, but once you kill this player, it's very awkward to try to approach for anybody. If you're coming out of Ivy and now the threat of T-Con is here, you can't necessarily just clear into this deep angle. If your teammates are starting to swarm the site, as we see that they are, it's not that easy to fight Karrigan. Look, they even have to forget about him sometimes, even though he just got a kill. So this, his ability to control the back lanes. Look how it just brings everybody in across the site. And they didn't even start moving until this is exactly what I want to see in this demo. So they don't even start moving until he gets the kill at back six. And the real magic for me, and what really caught me off guard when I was watching them play at the Blast Fall Showdown, was just how he was able to do this so many rounds in a row versus Heroic. And I had myself wondering, because he was walking through smoke sometimes inside of T-Con, and it had me wondering, did he just download a number of Heroic demos and then and figure out the timings? Or did he just go off instinct? Or was there a tell on a smoke or a flash on the other side of the map that his team communicated? Literally, I'm not over-exaggerating. Could be that, and I have no idea. But now I just want to see, what happens in practice once he plays them again. Because I did really feel like that was stuff that he couldn't get away with twice. But then we started to see more patterns with the IGLs. We started to see Karrigan do this stuff more consistently across all maps. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's not so much a coincidence. There's something to this. And it's definitely clearly worked out very well. So I was supposed to talk a bit about Twist going to FaZe. That was announced yesterday. I actually didn't go over that. And the potential for Karrigan to go to FaZe as well. And the big question, of course, is will Karrigan go to FaZe? I don't actually have insider knowledge on this. I feel pretty confident that he will be, but I don't know. And I think if that were the case, I think the story is very, very interesting for FaZe. A little bit less interesting, a little bit scary for Mousesports. I think the thing is that wherever Karrigan goes at this point, he's going to leave in his wake desolation and destruction, because he's such a valuable IGL. He's fitting perfectly into the way that the meta is being played net right now. Like, if this style of play that's been so emphasized recently is working at this high of a level, then he would be so valuable back in the days when he was playing on FaZe Clan. I think the Karrigan, I don't remember exactly how he was playing at the time, but I think he was more looked at as just a weak fragger, but not so much an information gatherer, a camera, a drone. You know what I mean? Whereas that's literally what he's being used for at the moment in an interesting way, where he's also getting some kills, not just throwing himself out there in the same way like Crystal might just literally throw himself out there and die and know he's not going to get a kill and have no confidence. Karrigan's actually getting kills, getting damage. So, yes, I think that, if that was the case now, if the meta was more like it is now, then FaZe probably would have stuck together through all of what happened, leading up, or following the Boston 2018 major. That's, the most divisive major of all time. Okay, so, 2-2. We've already seen Karrigan basically eyes out a T-Con almost every round so far. He's definitely doing a lot to get info here. Here he just throws a smoke down to deny any kind of push, and then allows the nades to come through. I'm sure he's trying to do, but they delay it, actually. Okay. So I think the idea was throw the smoke down, fall back, let them spam T-Con, let them nade T-Con, come back in, And why throw the smoke? Just so that they can't push in while he's left, right? And then you can come back in safely without using nades to clear it. Because it's a whole ordeal to try to take over T-Con again after you know the CTs might be in there. But they delayed a little bit. The late grenade was really good by Heroic, and now we're going to move on forward after that play doesn't work out so well. It's just Glocks here. Of course, Karrigan going to be leading in first. Maybe a boost here for Frozen. Let's see if this results in anything. Results in Frozen dying. An undignified death at the bottom of Ivy. So what is the next part of the game plan? Okay. Eyes forward on T-Con again. Karrigan knows that Borup is around Sandwich. He's looking for him. He does find him, tries to take his time with it, but Borup cleans him up like a Zamboni on some fresh ice. And now we've got a situation towards B, and whenever it's gone B, it looks like Karrigan's actually always last in, which is interesting. I mean, the man can play a clutch. I think it's not exactly an endearing, or it's not like the nicest thing to say, but I think it honestly is very true. I think Karrigan's IQ in the clutch is among the highest. I'm serious. I'm not joking around. And I think he has some of the most impressive ace fails. And I know that doesn't sound great. That sounds like a disparaging statement or like a backhanded compliment. But he has some of the closest, 1v3s, 1v4s, 1v5s in the game. Some of the most crazy rounds that I can remember. I remember one where he had this, and sometimes it's come down to the last kill, and he's just like missed a spray. I feel like Karrigan in his current form, he's not going to miss that spray right now, and it shows with how well he's been playing. But I do advocate for leaving Karrigan alone in the 1v1, 1vx situation. I feel like he's kind of an empath a little bit, and you might not be able to see how good Karrigan is because he is always thinking about how to make his team play better. Okay, Tessus. That's the kind of peak that would just piss me off. I'd be like, wait, why is he swinging that hard from T-Con? But it's, read perfectly. They deny him. He still manages to get a lot more kills in this half, which should be interesting. But yeah, there it is. He tries to go for info one more time. And again, we're just kind of seeing this thing. First out, looking for stuff, helping his team get across. That second or third round was the most interesting so far, where it's worked the best. And now we have slightly passive approach. Of course, Tessus is a rock wall in ladder. He's very hard to get through. Such a strong player. This is a really big pickup, though, on KD. And so that's actually the pressure from T-Con that allows him out. And look at this. The back six train dies to Karrigan. Now they've got the three-pronged attack. It's the perfect split, and you actually don't need all five. But the problem is you need the bomb. So the interesting rotation here is they leave Karrigan outside because I feel like, or Karrigan, I guess, feels like he's made too much progress. And they allow the ladder player to go and grab the bomb to come back out through T-Con. So, of course, you're maintaining control. In the middle of the site, you clear everything out. I think ideally Karrigan goes back, I guess. But, either way, someone can get into T-Con. And look, the lurk actually works out splendidly. And Karrigan is able to kill the old bomb player as well as keep eyes on this ladder cross. Even does some damage on Tessus. And there's Tessus going down. Incredible impact here from Karrigan. We see their lurk play off. That was a cool rotation to watch. I wonder if he just said, go and get the bomb, please, or if he forgot it to go and get it, or he just felt like he needed to get out, even though he got the 2 kills right away, if he needed to just commit or whatever. But, on this team, if there's somebody who's going to be aggressive lurking, it's Karrigan. So it makes sense that he's the guy to try to get into T-Con, into Z, excuse me, or try to just get a lot of information really fast. Eats a little bit of damage. Sometimes the damage, it's not necessary, but it's part of the job. You suffer, people are going to design nades to throw at you, especially if you want to be really prickly and stand in a spot that they want to take over. Or they just don't want you to be there on a default. The best of the best take damage in some of the most notable roles. Olaf Meister on Cobble took a lot of damage, pushing to the end of Long B. Device takes a lot of damage at the bottom of Banana. Karrigan here in T-Con and any other T-Con player that comes here are going to get wallbanged, spammed. A lot of stuff that the CTs will throw is going to be based on you specifically, but it's all worth it, right? Because you maintain this position here. It allows you to be able to get out T-Con when you want to. later in the round. Oh, he ends up dying. Okay, they're definitely just focusing on him for as long as they need to, and Karrigan's trying to change up the timing as to when he tries to get out, but they're keeping eyes on it. Very smart of Heroic to do so. They haven't always been able to stop it. Karrigan, I'd say so far in the tally, he's gotten off one very good, strong lurk round all the way back with some, good mechanics involved with the 2 kills, and then one round that was really, really mechanics based. Small bit of timing, but a nice 2K entry on the top of blue, top of the back 6. I'm gonna be consistent about the colors or numbers, but I just love saying back 6 and then like red and green. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so now what's gonna happen? We've got the same smoke that comes out. Karrigan here waiting, and we see last time he tried to come in a little bit later, and then he just got naded to hell, but he saw 2 nades this time. So you've got the flashed outside trying to bait out some utility if they'll throw it. They go for a re-smoke. That's kind of nice if they want to exit early. I think he's maybe hoping for a molly, and it looks like it's coming. Again, he's just trying to make it feel like there's more than one player here that they might just about execute. And even if your Karrigan's here pulling nades from outside, and the end game plan, look at that, molly comes, all before a minute is up, right? So this is very nice. The amount of pressure that Karrigan's put, it's not a coincidence, right? The amount of pressure Karrigan's put all half on T-Con means that they're going to dedicate a lot of resources to trying to kill him. He's consistently come. But all of these nades that they get pulled out of outside right now, they make the retake harder on inner. So if we go inside and we have decent trades, it could be utility that decides the round here for Mouse Sports, depending on how the rest of the trades go. Okay, opportunity to catch. He can't find it. Last bullet. Player gets away, 3-4. We've got one of the last incendiaries coming out on the site. And this is also interesting. He's pulled a lot of utility out from T-Con. We've got the back 6 smoke coming out now. And they're going to try to entry. This would be a pretty miraculous round. 14 HP, 3-on-4 situation. But he's got control now. And he has back 6 smoke. Doesn't have to look at it. He's holding the back lanes. They can try to exit out. They're on the site. Tasses, he's in a very good spot, of course, here behind the bomb train. So it's a nice try, but they don't pull that off. Now we've got another deagling round for Karrigan. I don't know if his teammates have guns. It looks like they don't. And Stown will kill him here as well. Okay. Of course, overall, it's not been a great T-half. It's pretty much just been when Karrigan has impact. Is when Mouse Sports win. That's been the strong correlation. There's the grenade with his name on it. And this is shallow molly potential, but oh no, Karrigan will just take him out. They've got everybody on duty to watch him. It's an op covering an op. They've got layers of protection here against Karrigan. The sandwich op, the back 6 op, the Tessus rifle. It's been a nightmare. Can we get at least 2 more rounds? Something interesting here. I feel like we actually have, we've got a couple more kills to get here for Karrigan before we round this half out. So we'll see if he can do it. He's focusing in on this. Now he's meeting up with his teammate nice and early. He finally gets that kill. You see how much of a pest he's being, and he's trying to isolate. He finds the frag. Oh my god, it's 3 here on the outside entries. Well, we have another round where Karrigan multi-frags and they just win off of it. I mean, he's decimated everybody outside so far. They've got the one player in the T-Con. Now he's got eyes on one of the last 2. Now the last 2 in total. It sets Rops up nicely, but yeah, he's got to actually do the damage now. I mean, one of these players is killable with just a pistol, but they can't do it. Okay, I mean, you couldn't ask for more from Karrigan, right? He pulls off the same play, but with faster IV control, and actually does get the 2 players who are looking for him to turn away. But they don't win the round. None of this half was Karrigan's fault. We can at least say that much. He's coming through with the 90 ADR. It's all impactful kills. Zero ecoing kills, 0 exit frags. It's just it's only been pure impact so far. It's a shame that some of the rounds haven't worked out, but I guess that's where the unbelievable CT side comes in, and they really mop up. I think Frozen in the ladder is a big one. Oh, okay, there it is. He finds another one outside T-Con. And I mean, take a look at all of these different looks that Karrigan's giving us. These are a lot of ways that you can use to, if you don't know what to do in a default, these are kinds of the things you should be looking for. How can you make yourself useful? How can you take an angle that's effective but also passive? Or, how can you do something new where you feel like you've been doing the same thing and dying every round? And now the last round of the game, 4-on-4. I think this is where the game is very, very interesting on train. 4-3 even more so, but 4-4, people start moving a lot. There's a lot of exploitable positions, a lot of openings, a lot more timings that can be created. It's when it gets very scary for the CTs. The CTs don't want to be in the 4-on-4 situation on train. They'd much rather be in a 5v5. So now with KD and Dead outside again, it's a number of times here he's taken out the Opper, taken out both Oppers. There's the second guy. He goes up top. He can't control the spray, unfortunately, but he gets the info, and that's kind of what's important here. Borup gets traded out. It's 2-on-1 now, and there's just no odds here for the CT. Last alive versus the two best after plant positions. Train is not the map that you 1v2 on, right? It's just way too big outside, way too many places to hide, too easy to cover the bomb from multiple spots, too easy to coordinate defense. It's just, there's just no chance really to win in the 1v2. Basically saving the 1v2 versus outside unless it's this kind of situation, like the last round of the game. So that's it for that game. We didn't get the most amount of interesting rounds, but I think that early on we did see a lot of cool stuff, and I think most of the other stuff too is also interesting. Like, why doesn't it work? When does it work? These are stuff that you should this stuff that you should watch for, and I think it's important to tell the whole story. Sometimes when you watch YouTube videos, or even when you make YouTube videos, you can be a slave to your own narrative and like look for clips that help feed it, or specifically try to sell a situation and go through a bunch of situations where that same thing didn't work. And the thing I like about this, of course, is that like you get the good and the bad, and you get a more realistic view of what's going on, and you can watch for, and some of the boring stuff is actually important to learn from as well, right? The game just isn't all about tricks, but it's about keeping it fresh with good fundamentals at the same time, and then thinking about how to play off of patterns. And that's what's also really good about watching like a whole half. You get to see the psychology as well as the what causes a decision to happen apart from what's happening in that specific round, like what happened last round or the round before, and those things compound into a game plan. And I've said before, sometimes it's hard to see always why a player does something because there's context based on the history of those two teams playing against each other. But one reason I really love analyzing as a caster and live analysis is because any good game plan is going to be malleable and evolve and be shaped by the game at hand, and grow as the game goes on. And those changes are what I find most interesting to look for. What is someone adapting to? Two people come in with a game plan, they're countering each other. What are they changing in the actual match that you can see for yourself to try to outdo their opponent? So, that's cool to watch. Anyways, another good one. I'm going to be live right now. I'm going to play some matchmaking, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video.